Hello everybody, so today I'm going to show you how to make these UV resin earrings using wire. So I use this wire for several different things. Most recently I think I used it on my channel to do some beaded keychains, and I've used it for beaded jewelry. But today I was looking at it and I was thinking of ideas for this video, and I thought, what if I cut those and made different shapes and then just put them directly into the resin just like that. Because we use metal embeds and charms in our resin, so why can't we just make our own out of wire, different shapes, just random shapes. So I took my jewelry pliers and I wrapped them around, and it's going to be a rounded shape. So then in a minute I'm going to show you how I squash it down. So depending on how far you start down on your jewelry plier will depend on how long your shape is going to be. So you can do it as short or as long as the mold that you're going to put it in. So now I'm going to take these pliers and I'm going to just smash it down flat. Now if you're doing a mold that's a little bit wider, you wouldn't have to do this step. You could leave it rounded, but I'm using a mold that's very narrow, so it's not wide at all, so I have to smash it down or it will be sticking out of the resin. So I'm going to smush it down on all sides and make sure there isn't like any pointy stuff that would be pointing down and like poking a hole in your mold, because we don't want a hole in our mold. And then if there is that, you just kind of bend it around, make sure it's flat. And then I also wanted to do some of this bronze. So if you start farther down like this and wrap it around, you'll get a longer shape. And you can also just wrap it as close or a bigger gap as you want, because it'll also change the shape. And I'm going to cut off that excess and then just squish it down. I wonder, it just came to me when I'm looking at the shape of this, you could probably get green wire and make little Christmas trees like this, if you can see what I'm looking at, with the pointy thing on top. Anyway, that might have to come for Christmas time. It gave me an idea. And then if you go even farther down, just like this at the very bottom, you're going to have a longer shape. So the mold I'm using has a very small triangle, but it also has a longer triangle. They're all going to be dangle earrings. So these longer ones we're using will be for that longer earring. And I'll show you what I mean when I bring the mold out. Those would actually make really cute Christmas trees. Stay tuned for Christmas time. We'll have to make those. Okay, so here's the mold. And see, these longer ones will fit really nicely, just like that. Then you can put your medium ones there. And you can kind of adjust it if you need to, because the wire is very flexible. And see how those are kind of a more dense? So I wanted to do gold. And I'm not really sure which one I like better. There's quite a few ways that I've done this. At the end, you'll see I've added a few things. So I can't really decide which one's my favorite. So let me know which one's your favorite in the comments. This one, these were all too big for these little triangles, so I had to cut this one in half. But then this was sticking out where I cut it, so I had to kind of bend it and squash it down a little bit. Again, I do not want a hole in my mold. That would be sad. Okay, so there, just gonna lay it in there and do the same thing with that one. Where I pulled it apart to cut it, it kind of messed it up a little bit. And then I'm gonna leave that curly Q because I thought it gave it character. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I don't have any resin in it or anything yet. I just put the metal down in there. And then I decided there's a gap, so why don't I just add some of this gold in there too, since I already had those made. It was an experiment. So we got the gold there, and now I'm gonna add some UV resin. And I'm gonna do it carefully since we already have something in there. I don't wanna overfill it. So I'm gonna let it sink down to the bottom into all of those ridges and the cracks in there. And then I'm going to continue gradually filling it up. And I know I'm like over explaining, but I love all of my followers, but I also know how it was when I was a beginner. So I try to explain things from a beginner's standpoint as well. That way my followers that are on here can get ideas, but also the beginners, if they come, they can know how to do it as well. I try to always never make it too hard of a project. So you're just going to fill this up until it's to the very top of the mold. And if you hear something in the background, I'm actually on my exercise bike as I'm doing this video. I might even sound a little out of breath, so I apologize for that. I'm trying to multitask today. Okay, so we're going to fill this mold up. So you always want it to be even with the top of that mold. And see how I'm just kind of doing it very gently so I don't accidentally overflow it. Listen, in my time, I have overflowed a lot of molds. So I want to make sure that I'm not doing that. So getting a toothpick out. And I wanted to, first I'll get the bubbles out with the slider. There were some bubbles coming to the surface. Which with this project, this wire didn't make a ton of bubbles. So I was excited about that. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of gold foil. And if you want to know what this gold foil is setting on, it's one of the backs of my stud molds. So it's actually silicone, which I love that. So when I go to clean it up, all I have to do is put some alcohol, like rubbing alcohol on it, and it cleans right up real easily. So, but I love using these because you can bring the gold foil right directly to your project and it makes it more portable. And the resin comes off easily, so you don't have to worry about the cleanup of it. So again, this is an experiment. So we're just seeing kind of what looks best or adding things. We could do so many different things that would be added in with the metal too. Or think of a coaster. You could do some pretty cool stuff with wire in a coaster. So I put that under the UV light for about 2 to 3 minutes, and I always flip my clear mold over and do the UV light for about a minute or two on the back of it as well. And then a lot of the times when I'm taking it out of the mold, I go ahead and put it under the UV light again, just because I think that it just gives me peace of mind to know that for sure I got the UV light all the way through this piece and it's cured. It just makes me feel better about it. What do you guys do when you take it out of the mold? You're like, okay, done. Or do you like to put it under the UV light again just in case? Let me know in the comments. So once you have all of that, I'm going to put it under the UV light. Probably, I think I did it for just 1 more minute since I've already mostly cured it. And then there is some little places that need cleaned up a little bit. So I'm going to take the scraper and just scrape that off. This scraper I got on accident. I got it with my resin drill, and it's become my favorite thing to clean up resin pieces with. If you have watched any of my videos, you know I don't like to sand. It's not my favorite, so this helps clean it up so easily. I've tried to use many tools. This is my favorite. It came with the resin drill. I'll put the link to it and any other thing that I've used in this video. I'm going to put all those links so you can find those products in the description of this video. So you put the jump ring and then the earring hook on. And I think it really turned out cute. It's very unique. And there wouldn't be another one exactly like it because you can't get the same twists and turns the same every time. So it'd be really neat. Sorry, that was my clock in the background. So this is the finished look of it, but I wanted to show you. Now when you are doing a jump ring, you know how there's a crease in it? I like to move it down into the jump ring hole, just so that it looks a little bit more professional. I love how they turned out. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Please like and subscribe. I have a ton more resin videos on my channel, and I hope that you have a blessed day.